that video of the Flappy Birds thing where this guy's like, "I'll show you how to win at Flappy Birds," and then he's like, "You sent it to me," and he was playing it, and then like halfway through he's like, "This is how you win it," and just hits it with a hammer for ages. It's amazing.
Okay. It's all good.
It's starting again.
I went to download it and it had gone.
Yeah, he's removed it.
I did exactly the same thing because I thought that there's no way that he really would remove it, so I wasn't going
No, he
to fall
has.
Some sort
for
of
that.
weird stunt, but it's like he's actually done it.
I think he's actually just couldn't cope because he was just one guy on his own.
What?
It was
Could
not.
Are we live?
Could have
Are
just
you ready to
disappeared,
load
couldn't
it?
it?
We were ready anyway. I just thought we were
Yeah,
chatting.
yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good to chat about that actually because there's a conspiracy theory going around.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Was it?
that sounds exciting.
Are we live yet?
Can anyone
That is
hear us?
perfect.
Oh, you can hear Tony. Wow.
Hey, fantastic.
That's all that matters,
Okay,
isn't it?
shall I talk about the iOS again? I don't know where we got to.
We don't know if anyone heard the iOS stuff, but Charles is just going to repeat what he
Oh,
was saying
golly,
anyway.
yeah. So
Tell us,
apologies.
Charles, tell us about iOS.
Yeah, it's a sort of
Okay.
deja vu, isn't it?
So the sound's fixed. You can't see us, but hopefully you'll be able to see us shortly. Charles,
Okay.
do you want to go back to what you
Yeah,
were saying?
the iOS version launched on Thursday, which was really exciting. It's had great reviews. It was featured by Apple, and we are very pleased and very proud that the game went to number one in the UK and Germany and France, Ireland, and lots of other countries as well. Which, if you think about it, there are 1 million apps out there. So to go to number one, and we are a small team, you know, I'm sure the Electronic Arts would not have problems with their sound.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would have, you know, I actually have been to the Electronic Arts offices in Chertsey, and they are absolutely amazing.
Is it 99 pence to get through every door?
Very good, Tony. Yes, yes.
I don't even mention going to spend a penny.
Tony, you're on fire. So yes. So anyway, well, actually, we didn't do all of this last time, and you know, the wit of the three of us is quite extraordinary, isn't
Yeah.
it?
It's overwhelming, really, isn't it?
It is overwhelming. So the game. Now
Comedy
there are
triggers.
two things I wanted to talk about. The first one is that the game does crash for a few people, and that's because it's a very graphic-intensive game, and sometimes it runs into memory problems. I think absolutely every time it can be solved by just resetting your device, which frees up the memory, and the game plays. So if anybody who has got the iOS version is having problems, please just reset your device. It will 100% so far fix the problem.
Yeah, to be clear, it's iPad 2 and the first gen iPad minis.
Great.
So it's
The older
it's
ones,
just
isn't
those those devices, but we're looking to fix it.
Yeah, so apologies if you've got one of those and you've had problems. The other thing I was going to say is, one of the reasons that it was went to number one was that we discounted it to £2.99,
Bargain price.
$4.99, which is less than the Vita reduced price. So again, we felt that was for that particular market. It was what we felt that was the best way forward. So it's about half the price of the Vita at discount. We will be putting the price up, and you know, that's the way it is. So we have had a few people point out the difference, and you know, apologies that there's a difference, but that's the way it
This
is.
is the way the App Store works.
Yeah.
People were wondering whether it was underselling the quality of the game. So how do you feel about that? Because it is a very high quality game. A lot of work's been put into it. So
It is, but you can put it at the price you'd really like to sell it for, but it won't sell, and it will drop out of the chart. And if it's not in the chart, it's not going to sell at all because no one will see it. You know, you have to be visible. I mean, we don't want to sell it for £3 either or £5. We'd rather sell it for all of them at the same price because that's what it's worth. But in those markets, in those mobile markets, that are anyway 99% or whatever it is free to play.
Well, 92%. I think they say that 92% of the
amazing,
revenues
that, isn't it?
from the top 100 apps are free to play. And you know, we have very much not gone down. That's a different subject, of course. But if we move across, as we do, it's, you know, we've very much not gone down the free to play. And I was in Russia actually just at the end of last week, and the Russians really embrace free to play and will spend a lot more in a free to play game than they would do buying it in the first place, which kind of feels counterintuitive. It feels slightly crazy. And it was summed up by a journalist who said, yeah, Russians love to spend lots and lots of money in free games, which is exactly the way it is. So, but quite a few people were talking about the fact that actually People are getting wary because they realise that actually they're paying a lot more than they expect, and bloody blah. So I think the landscape will change, probably not as rapidly as the growth happened, but I think it'll start to decline. And we write games that cost the price of a Starbucks or 2 Starbucks coffees, and hopefully people feel that it's worth it.
What people forget, of course, is that the very first iOS game that you released was released for free, briefly, for the 12 Days of Christmas. That's right, isn't it?
Yes, but what's the difference between us and, say, Electronic Arts or Gameloft is that they will regularly slash their games to $1, even within weeks of it being released, and that's not something that we believe in at all. We think that our Broken Sword games are at a premium price.
They're premium for the App Store.
For the App Store, yeah, and so we they cost a lot of money to develop. Hopefully they're perceived as being premium, and that's very much what we hope people will consider the Broken Sword games to be.
But also there's an exponential chart. If you're in the top 5, you're selling that many. If you're in the top 10, it's right down, and then like that. You need to be at the top of the chart, and to be at the top of the chart, to get the volume, you need to be at these ridiculous low prices, but that's just the way it works.
And that's because people see you on the chart when
It's
they first
see
log
you,
in. People don't go and scroll through 10 pages to find out.
They're in the App Store app and they see like the top 6 or something. And if you're not in that, then you're selling multiples less. And if you're in the top 50, if you're in the bottom 50 or something, it's massively less. And anything outside the top 100, it's like a few a day. Just the way it works.
But so far, it seems to be very well received.
Yes, apart from people who've had it crash, it's been really, really well received. We're really pleased, and we're actually doing quite well with part 2. I think when people see episode 2 as well and play the 2 sides together, the beta testers who've had a quick look have said that actually it works really, really well together. Leonard very kindly came over on Saturday and
Hi,
played.
Leonard.
And
he's moving house next week.
Is he?
He
wrote an excellent.
And here's his address.
Sorry, Leonard.
He wrote an excellent report, and it was very nice to see that. What he talked about, which is certainly always the idea, was that episode 1 is very much setting up the story and the situations, and then the drama drives forward episode 2, and it's very much a payoff for what you discovered in part 1.
Yeah. Well, we could talk about episode 2 now, if you like, if that's because we were going to move on to give you some exciting tidbits of episode 2.
Okay, we're just going to show the opening screen, won't we? And warn people that there is a kind of spoiler.
There's a bit of a spoiler, so I know that I've had a few emails from people who didn't want to see any spoilers for episode 2, and that's fine. But I would recommend perhaps that you turn at least I'm not sure if you just turn your computer off and turn it back on.
Switch off your screen.
Yeah, switch off your screen, but then Charles was going to narrate it, so I'm not sure.
Leave the room now.
5 minutes.
Yeah, pop out, make a cup of tea and come back.
Well, that's not much of a spoiler. We're only showing a few seconds.
Yeah, it's not too long, is it?
Yeah,
But
no.
Okay, so Alex, are you going to be okay to set that going?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you want to narrate what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Charles is going to talk through this section of
And
episode
do you think
2.
is the wonderful Tim going to take
and
my
then
place?
and then we'll be joined by Tim shortly.
He's showing his guns, He's really, he's been working out.
Oh, God. I'll sit in this
Do
place.
you need this?
Oh.
So,
Right. Okay. Well, basically, this is the first screen. People, I hope you. Well, most of you will have played the first part. Some have been waiting for the second, and I guess you all imagine that you'd be coming back to this Castillo de Santos, which is now derelict. So it's quite run down, and you arrive. You're not sure whether. Who's going to be there, and it looks derelict, but then you get shot at, and you're not sure. It could be Modovsky, it could be the Gnostics, it could be Langham. You're not quite sure what to expect. So now, quite a few people have asked about going to new locations. So we come into this Spanish Castillo, then you go on to another beautiful clifftop place. And then I'm not going to spoil it beyond that, but you go off to the Holy Land, as was promised in the Kickstarter. What we're going to see is Nico solve a particular puzzle. George is standing there waiting to make a dash for it. and Nico's going to have to cause a distraction. Now, if you remember from the intro, this was the Spanish Civil War, so it's not all that surprising that there's an old helmet on the ground which she picks up. Also, many of you will remember that the famous Kershaw telescopic mop is in her inventory. So, of course, as any young lady would do, she combines the two. So she now has a helmet on a mop pole. And so guess what you do next? Alex, you're a genius. Okay, bear in mind that this is all beta code, so if the camera's a little bit jerky, that's just because it's being. Oh, hey, and here we go. George arrives. He's got the shooter on one side. He's caught between the shooter and his worst nightmare. And so, basically, as you can imagine, he has a goat that he has to try and placate. Well, he won't placate it. He has a goat that he's going to try and get past. And I don't think we should show any more. But there's a lot of butting. You can have the butt of a joke there, Tony.
Scraping the bottom of the barrel shells.
It is indeed. It is. Yes. And so yes. And so here is a really fun goat. Maybe I tell you what. Why don't you go and pet him? Just go and pet him.
Oh yeah.
Yes, because that's not giving away any of the gameplay. And if you go and pet the goat, of course the goat's very, very friendly. As goats always are to our friend George. So there you go. So we're not going to give any more away, but that's a little teaser as to the game itself. So hope you enjoyed seeing that. Right. So for anybody who's listening but not really listening or not watching, we're going to turn this off now, and the spoiler.
Not the live feed.
Not the live feed. Not the live feed. The spoiler is now going to come to an end.
Yeah. Oh. We've gone back. Oh, okay. So you went back. My feed is delayed. And we're joined now by Tim, who is one of our artists. Artist, what do you go by? Graphic
artist.
Graphic artist. And Tim's been doing a lot of the artwork recently. Do you want to just talk us through kind of what you've been working on?
Well, I've been doing a lot of promotional stuff. For iOS. We've got a humble indie bundle. I've been just churning out graphics for all those different companies that with distributors. So I've been really, really busy, but my main concern was the Kickstarter rewards. So I've been literally working non-stop on the history of Broken Sword, Nico's notebook. I've been putting them all together. I've been designing the hoodie that nobody knows about. Literally they don't know what it looks like, but hopefully by the end of the week we'll have a design we agree on, and we'll be showing it to you when we can. So. Well,
that's really exciting. Can you give us some spoilers about what it's going to look like?
No.
Or is that a secret?
No, it's a secret. I'm keeping still on that.
Is it just you who knows? Is that does no one else know?
Yeah.
Not even Charles.
No. So
you said you've been working on the history of Broken Sword book. I know a lot of people are waiting for.
Literally.
About
the first bit of doing this book was literally to source all old images, all the old layouts of all the original games, going through all the archives, just collecting all the images together, and literally just linking them all up and just putting them all in the book and just showing off all the artistry of all the layouts before, and just a little bit of going down memory lane of where we've come from and where we are now, and how we've improved on our layouts and the resolution and all that. Pretty much is you'll see through the book, through the images, that how we've progressed. So
it's been quite good actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
I quite look forward to it.
Don't sound too surprised, Tony.
Yeah.
No, I know there's going to be a history of Broken Sword book, but now Tim describes it, he's actually going to be really good.
Yeah. So literally, it's I've literally went through thousands of images, so thousands and thousands of them. Literally, I've just been searching, putting one in one folder, saying this needs to be in the book, and it's a long process, but it's coming to the end.
So is there going to be images that people may have not seen before from the
you'll see because of the resolution of the game, they've had to be for original one, they've had to be down res. So I've got the actual original layouts, the original pencil drawings. So you'll actually see in the full glory of what what it was meant to be, in the sense of if it was done now, what detail you get. So it's quite exciting to look at Broken Sword 1 and look at those old layouts, because they're gorgeous. So it's just nice to see that we're carrying on what we started. So
Well, I mean, Broken Sword 5's layouts were done exactly the same way, weren't
Yeah.
They look exactly the same,
Yeah.
all on paper and pencil and stuff.
yeah.
And the
So-
change over time is going to look really interesting.
Yeah.
Flicking through, isn't it? The change in the style.
So and everybody will be able to see like just the layouts without all the UI or anything. Actually see what we create behind the screen, just so you can see how big these layouts are when they're like fully scaled, and see how the perspective change. Just so how we have a massive pan, but we only see part of it, so we have to change the perspective as it goes along, so everybody will be able to see that in a one big spread. So yeah, it's exciting.
So is there going to be sort of a lot of text in it, or is it mostly going to be imagery?
It's mostly going to be imagery, because literally Broken Sword literally it is the imagery that is the core. But literally there's going to be a few descriptives, but it's more to show off literally the artistry and the characters. We've got so many character drawings. Like I've got the original pencil drawings of all the characters, and I've got all those in, and so yeah, it's really exciting. So
I wish I'd pledged now.
And there's the comic books as well. That
yes,
are
and
they nearly finished now, or?
well, you'd have to ask Charles, I think, but
Okay, well, we'll ask him
literally-
later when he comes back.
But yeah, we've got the email of it's on the last home straight of what we're putting together, so it's looking exciting. So I haven't actually seen that, but I
I've
know
not
it's
seen that.
happening.
I keep hearing about it. I've
Yeah,
not seen it.
so there's a new
pending then.
comic. Yeah.
Pending, and so the old ones are ready as well. The digital old comics that were previously printed. So
Yeah.
that's another thing to look forward to. And another thing I wanted to ask you is we get quite a lot of fan art, and previously you were sort of in control of your art wall, which is behind us here. But it was in the online version that you probably saw on the backer panel. And so I thought I'd update it today, seeing as we were filming in the office, because I thought since it's a bit of a change of scenery, we'll make it look a bit more decorative. So these are a few of the examples that I've got from the forum. I'm sorry if I've missed anybody, as we did kind of start to run out of room really. But I thought since Tim was kindly joining us today, we would talk through his views on art. So it's kind of like it's kind of like when Tony Hart does it and talks about the fan drawings that children send in. But this time it's
well, we have a Picasso here, as you can see,
Picasso.
fine Picasso.
Yeah.
That's very good. Isn't it?
Yeah, going on here, and this. When I saw this was amazing, because it kind of relates to the game very, very closely.
That's
Careful
from,
now.
yeah, careful, but no
careful.
spoilers.
And I think it's because they've seen the posters and they've iterated on it.
So we should probably say that was commissioned.
Yeah, that was commissioned by
Tiki.
Yeah.
His name is up there. Also did this one. If you can see that on the camera, but yeah, so that was a commissioned piece of art, and it does contain sort of a spoiler, but we will gloss over that one.
Literally,
But what is the spoiler?
Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
What
What
I
about
actually
this is
don't
this?
know.
Yeah, what about this is this?
What's
But
the
yeah,
spoiler?
well, literally, when I was putting these up, then the game started to be created. I was literally just rushed off my feet, so I literally fell behind on this wall. But literally, we've been lucky enough to print them all off and actually put them on the wall. But we're really impressed with them, because we like seeing, just it inspires you to do you get on with your work, because you guys are so passionate about Broken Sword, and we just want to give you the best.
I've got to do a special mention for Alice, who I don't think is going to be logged into this. I can't remember what level backer she is, but she's very flap on the forums, and she did this amazing one here. Ooh, I can point to it. I don't know what you think about that, but that is like my favourite drawing ever. I think that's beautiful. She's very talented. I think she did the one above it as well with pencil drawing. And there's coat of arms in the far corner. That was done by CJ Dragon. And that's I think it was CJ Dragon. Apologies if I've got that wrong. But yeah, we were really impressed by some of the ones that we've got. Oh, he also did the Minecraft, which is this one.
Yeah,
Which
that's
probably
brilliant.
doesn't show up very well actually. And looking at it on the
The
live
live-
feed, it just looks
probably
like
looks dark.
a little square. But that's actually really good, and he's obviously spent a lot of time on that. He's an uber fan. So in general, it's quite flattering really how much people have put time into it.
It literally is a wall of art now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we've
that
got
will
all of
stay
that.
up there as well. So as I said earlier, we're in our offices today. Like this is where we're filming. This is where people sit and work on the game. Now, I don't think they've seen
No more
this.
kitchen for us.
No, not that it was in the kitchen. You mean in the boardroom?
Oh yeah, the executive video suite.
Yeah, in our meeting room, official meeting room. But are we going to talk a little bit about the Android version?
We can do.
Yeah.
What do you wish to know?
Well, I guess because it's due to go out to backers. So is there going to be any more updates about that?
Well, it's coming along. Android we find a bit harder to do than iOS, so it needs more testing. We need to buy like 40 million different devices to test it on.
That is true.
But it's coming along. I mean, it should be. Our dates are always wrong, aren't they? But
Don't say a date if you don't know.
we're
guess.
we're talking, and don't quote me on this. And I'm not saying it, but sort of end of the month, ish,
Yeah.
maybe, all being well.
There's a lot of people looking forward to that because obviously after iOS it's very similar. But
Yeah, well, it's similar in terms of what you get and how you play it and all the rest of it, but technically it's quite a lot different. So that's the thing for us, and we probably we had quite a lot of problems in the past with Android. So you know, we have these issues because it's more phone based as well as Android. So we've got even more concerns with memory and this sort of thing.
yeah.
And we have this whole trade off between how good it looks versus how much memory it uses, and you know, there's always a pressure to reduce the sort of visual look of it to fit it in a smaller amount of memory. And it's obviously we want it to look as good as possible. We want the graphic quality as high as possible. We don't want to cut it down, so we just need to do a lot of testing to make sure it's going to work on enough devices.
Yeah.
Because you know, we can kill it on the we get a blacklist on Android basically, and a whitelist, and you can say, well, it doesn't work on this device, so we'll just not do it on that device. But we want to cover as many as possible, so we just need to keep testing and judging where to draw this line between quality and memory and all the rest of it.
The issue is, of course, there's always new Android devices coming out constantly.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with it, to be honest.
Sorry, I don't know what that noise was.
It's Hell's Angels.
It's just people riding their motorbikes around York as usual. Sorry, Tony. Carry on.
So what was I saying? It needs lots of testing and careful consideration and all the rest of it. So it's coming along. It's been worked on. It's not been forgotten or anything like that.
Yeah, because I know people sometimes speculate that it's something that's being put on the back burner, but it really isn't, is it? It's just such a big job.
No, it's all part of it. All part of the development that's going on.
Yeah.
And the other thing is on that note, you know, that the part 2 development is a content thing. You know, that's all the scripters and the artists and the designers. It's people like Tim and his wall of art. Yeah. And what we're doing, what the programmers are doing, you know, we're not too necessarily involved with part 2. It's just at the moment it's just a content thing. So you know, we're catching up with things like iOS and Android and updates for Steam and all the rest of it, and that's what we can do while part 2 is being finished off by the design team, so and the implementation team.
Yeah.
So you know, I read somewhere that I think it was Facebook, people were a bit miffed that we were doing like a Steam update of the 1080p set of graphics instead
Russian
of
subtitles.
and Russian and things like that, and that was instead of part 2. But it's not, because it's a different team in a different place, and the two don't run into each other. So that's not really what's happening. You know, part 2 is going along as fast as it can, and we're catching up with all the things we have to do, like Android and iOS and different languages. And it's just a parallel thing.
And you mentioned there about the updates, and we've had the HD update very recently, this weekend just gone. And a few people, I know a few backers were waiting to play using that update, so they've probably finally had a chance to play the first episode now.
They should on Steam, yeah. The GOG one takes longer to roll through.
GOG is a little bit slower.
GOG is more difficult because we just upload it to an FTP server, and then when it comes out on there is not our it's not for us to make that happen. We just send it to them. But Steam, we literally upload it and press publish, and literally 10 seconds later it starts trickling down to everyone.
And we're adding the achievements, aren't we? Hopefully,
Yeah,
there was a problem with these.
The achievements were down to be in that update that was last week, but we pulled them at the very last minute because we weren't confident they were completely reliable. So they're down for later this week, I think.
Yeah. Okay. I suppose we should probably talk about episode 2, but we would probably need Charles back. I don't know where he's gone.
He's gone off
Hello.
to work. He's gone off to work
Charles
on episode 2.
Charles actually gone to do some work in the interim.
Yeah.
Going through scripts.
Sorry to drag you in. Charles has been working on scripts.
Script editing part 2.
While we were chatting then.
I'll go musical chairs.
It's going to be a very, very late
Bye,
night
everyone.
for the rest of
Yeah,
this
bye
week.
Tim, thank you for that. So Charles is back, having been to do a spot of work in the interim. I thought we'd talk a little bit about, we've just been talking about the updates, but I think we should talk a little bit about episode 2 and what people can expect. I've got a few questions from
The comic is
people.
great, by the way.
Oh,
The comic is not being done by Dave Gibbons, but it is being drawn by the partner that did a lot of the work before, the colouring, and helped Dave out.
Oh, great.
And it looks fantastic. So we will of course be getting that to back as soon as it's ready.
Copy, yeah.
Digital copy, yeah, and that is. Oh, I'm very loath to give dates in case they get missed, but it should be 2 weeks.
Okay. I'm sure people will be very patient.
We usually make our dates anyway, Charles. It'll be alright. Have you seen this comic? None of us have seen it.
I'd love to see it.
Oh, it's really good.
Yeah. Can you send it to me?
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, we were going to talk about episode 2.
Yeah, episode 2 is coming along really well. We talked about it briefly, and the fact that it's very much, it's faster paced. It's very much a payoff for what happens in episode 1. Explains a lot of the history as well about the Gnostics, and
Puzzle's a bit harder, Charles?
puzzles a bit harder. Yeah, natural gameplay difficulty. You're always going to ramp up the difficulty, and again, it's the report was very much that. That felt right, that the difficulty level felt right.
Yeah.
So, no, it's exciting. We've just got to finish it now.
Yeah. There's been a couple of questions about episode 2 that I thought I'd put to you while everyone's watching. In particular, at the start of episode 2, is there going to be some kind of recap of what happened in episode 1 for people who are haven't maybe played it since December and might have forgotten?
Right. What our main focus at the moment is everything that's recorded, because that needs to be translated and then
the language. The words.
Yeah. So we have full intention of just doing a quick summary at the beginning. I also would love to be able to put in, although this is what's known as feature creep, a summary at the end as well of some of the historical aspects, because the historical aspects are absolutely brilliant, and we allude to them, and we're trying to put as much in without forcing too much exposition to come across. And it just struck me that if we can get that right to support the story, then we can then explain right a piece at the end. What do you think, Tony?
I think, Charles, you saved that for the director's voiceover thing.
Maybe
You
to talk
could
in depth.
say what everybody who's watching, maybe they could give their opinions and just let us know what they think.
That's a
about
good
that
idea. Yeah.
So having more of a history of the background as to why it's an interesting topic in the
Yeah,
first place,
yeah.
I suppose, and a bit more context.
Yeah.
That might be good. So if anyone's got any comments on that, because I always thought it was great in the director's cut when you have the little bit about how it was initially when you did the first ever Broken Sword, and then you have the updates and the updated photos. I like that bit. So maybe you could have something in this one.
Can I tell you a story? We when the game released on DS first, we got a phone call, and it was this lady, quite an elderly lady. She described herself as quite elderly. She's a pensioner, and she said, "I love the game, but I'm stuck." And so it came through to me as I answered it, and I was very happy to help. I love talking to people, particularly if they're different. And I said, right, where are you stuck? She said, there's this room where there's a cross. Okay. What you need to do is, she said, no, I haven't told you where I'm stuck. I said, no, I'm pretty confident I know where you're stuck, and this is what you do. And she